lógica que nós temos de começar a educar as pessoas relativamente à questão de cibersegurança. Temos que começar num princípio que todo mundo tem que saber o que é cibersegurança. Governo, o que é que está a fazer? De um tempo para cá, acho que a discussão pública já deve ter começado, o Diretor Nacional de Cibersegurança está aqui dentro. A discussão pública daquilo que serão as políticas a serem adotadas pelo governo por essa questão da regulamentação dos crimes informáticos e cibernéticos. Existem já alguns regulamentos que o defendem, mas queremos fazer um específico para crimes cibernéticos. Aquilo que vem sendo, acontece hoje nas redes sociais, inventam uma página do Facebook, vai lá, dás um clique, depois roubam os teus dados e depois é o Multicast Express que vai...
Será que conseguimos controlar as operações e as burlas que acontecem nas redes sociais?
É possível controlar, educando as pessoas. Porque as máquinas, vamos continuar a ter máquinas muito mais fortes, robustas, com questão das senhas, com 200 caracteres, com 300 caracteres, mas quem vai fazer...
But there are no funds. But today I acknowledge that it's not. And even with the ideas that Dr. Mora have shared, so for the doctor, you agree with us, you agree with the funders, or you do agree with the doctor? Well, I do agree with my colleague, Mr. Moore. I can also add reasons, but all those that can add will come within what I already said, which is discipline, envy, and so the young and investors, they can have good ideas, they can have funds, but when they don't have focus, they cannot organize their time, how to dedicate their time to focus on what is priority for its company. And I want to believe that we like to have easy money. So, and I have my idea, and I want to build my company today, and next week I want to have money. So we need to have patience and not only focus on the next weeks, but to think on future and organize the environment to be healthy in order to have a company growth. So we need, if it's necessary for us to go back to school, we have to go to do it. Well, do you have knowledge and education? If you need to go back to school, and sometimes you don't want to go back to school, but you want something, but you don't know the procedures to do it. So in that sense, we are going back to the points that my colleague already have said. So it's more about the person than to environment and resources. So usually people say, who can find the solution for a problem, for a sickness, he also has a solution. What is the solution for the system or ecosystem for the startup? One I have said in Angola, don't think that we're going to change the mentality of the people with the conferences. It's necessary that Angolan people learn with the consequences of its mistakes. Our own constitution. Well, we have a constitution that says that we need to be excellent in everything that you do. You need to be excellent. So we know that the excellence is the last definition of ethic. So the person who is ethic needs to be excellent. So what can we do to change the board of the system of startup in Angola? What you have said very well, and after all those workshops, what I have learned as a mother, the children will not stop doing something that is wrong because the mother has said. You as a mother, you have to show how to do it. You have to do what is right, and the children will learn as the father is doing what I want to do, what I want to say with. So I'm a director of Huawei. We have a lot of initiatives, and we are trying to change the mindset of how it is to create a healthy system for the upgrowing of the small companies. And we have an initiative which is ICT Cannabis, and we also have ICT Star and For the Future. Those are programs for young Angolans. And what we do, we in the universities we have partnership with University Costa Rica and University Catholic and many others. So we are focusing on educating students that have passion for this area of TICS, and those students that are in the area of TICS, our focus is to train more than 5,000 Angolans. They can go in our platforms and choose the courses that have the interest. They can have and 5G and cloud computing and AI, so they receive the certificate. In order to receive the certificate, they have to pay $200, but the study is for free. So for the future, what we do mentorships, and in 1 week we are teaching the students how to be innovators and entrepreneurs. And after a week, we are giving a time of few months for them to create their own projects, and they are doing it in group, at least 10 persons, and they create a group and they are doing a project, and then we do a mentorship until the November of each year. So they submit in our headquarters in China, and the winner will get $2 million as capital, financial capital. So we add for the education, the mentorship, and which is better for the growing of the startups. And then we also give the capital, the financial capital. For those that have found us in the middle, we are talking about the transformation of startups, and we are talking about the startup and the current challenges. So we have a panel who's talking about Dr. Which is the director of public relation in Huawei. We have Dr. Moore. Now we're going for the recipe of Dr. Mora. Well, I think we have to start with the change of the mindset. Well, in Angola, we do have two phrases. One is a word, and the other is a phrase. The phrase is "we are together." So we say we are together when we are saying bye, and we say, and the other thing is cantando. I do like a lot for those two. There's also a song which is Kizomba, which spread to the world and which is shared contact of trust. So we are not together. We we don't share ideas. We don't share doubts. So it's we fail because the basic concept of business in Africa, we have a person that need to be sitting here on this panel. She's the director of the secretary of the African Union, the lady that is over there, and who is working on the last few years with everything that is about startups and to create everything as the business models and everything that it knows about the market, and for the interest there is for the both parts, and to be together. And if we isolate ourselves and we don't talk to the neighbor, and if we try to do everything alone, and sometimes we don't do well, and so this is a very personal perspective. We have to start backwards. The model of a company. So we have here Satek who knows us, and we do a product, and after we study the product, then we go and sell it. The startup cannot work in that sense, in my perspective. The startup, they have to start in a different way. First they have to sell the product. So something they've started in a previous panel, in a parallel where I was hearing from of the transformational digital transformation plan, where a group of young entrepreneurs, they were waiting for the Secretary of State to ask an audience for Secretary of State to present an idea, a business idea. They went to say the Secretary said so. Okay, then the Secretary of State said, okay, Friday morning. So he said, oh, we have to work day and night to have the product. So then they have to have everything organized. They need to be prepared in their head. So to know the human natures and who's going to build who knows what is the pyramid of Maslow pyramid. We have 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. So we have the pyramid of Maslow. We say is the basic needs, and there are different instruments. And I also continue to like a lot about the Maslow pyramid. So it talks about the basic needs of human. So those are the based on those needs. So that's where we work. In Africa, we have a lot of needs, and what are the basic needs? This is the first need of it is water, food, and protection. And second, you need to have be part of a group, and the fourth, you need to be part the self control, and we need to for the difficulties that we have, we still have a lot of problems on the second and the third level of Maslow law. So we need to investigate and research ideas. So we need to study other things, and the material knowledge in startups are very critic. And I give my word to Miss so that I cannot monopolize the debate between us and moderators. I used to say, and our is regarding our current challenges. I would give to our audience the what we have talked about, the ecosystem, what is necessary. So I can see a hand here. There is a microphone over there that you can use. Just say your name, what you do, and your question.
Obrigado.
Thank you. Adilson Vicente is my name. I'm a teacher on the high school of telecommunication, and also a developer of hardware. And I could see that I do the idea as a teacher. I've been linked to some project of startups. When we are talking about idea and innovation, or this only linked to a higher education. Since my education schools, I have seen a decrease. Instead of our looking much on the higher education, why don't we look to the middle education or high school? And my second question is, I don't know if there's a legal program, and yes, I've never had on the province of Willa, or we never heard about startup or entrepreneurship. And the idea of entrepreneurship is to sell cakes, and I've said I will not go to these discussions and this topic because I don't see what the students are bringing or people are bringing. We need to share more information regarding startups and implement all those concepts on the curriculum, and to have the idea of being entrepreneur and a startup.
Eu estou.
Well, I want to congratulate the province of Willa, and I agree with you. And I do like, and I was involved in the process of management of COVID, and Willa was one of the province which was very disciplined with all that is about digital, and everything was done regarding with a smartphone and with 1 week we the people were educated and they started to do to work and without asking any penny on the central power. So they managed. Regarding the question regarding the middle school, I think startups, from definition, those are democratic. So this is a very democratic organization. You don't need to. You only need to sell your idea. You need to organize your idea, and it's obvious that many companies. We are talking about a company that has very commercial objectives, and they have started, and they have the objective of once again the African Union has all the program that everyone benefits as a middle school, as a high, even the person that cannot read and write. So if the person can sell the idea and manage to, so that's, we go back to the will. We are waiting for the people to tell us what to do. It's obvious that we need to talk more about this, and but on the other hand, the entrepreneur, we're not talking about the businessman. We're talking about the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, he has to go and get his dream. He has to go and try to solve his idea. So us, we have a team. Let's go and change the world. And in my team is someone, say, that likes to work, has a problem with me because I don't like to work. I don't like to work. There's a lot of things to do than to work. Then I like to feel that my path on earth has created value. So one day someone asked me, what is for you create value, excellency? And then we say and we change the definition. So for me, create aggregate value is to go out from my house in the morning and to do something that do not only benefit me. So this is one of the things what is necessary for the startups to feel. So it started on 90s. Now we have technologies that are very, so they are creating. So in the middle is very dynamic. So we have Facebook and many other social media. So our search for information and we share on the ecosystem. Someone puts in a picture on the beach drinking coconut water. So and he has 500 commentaries. So you has done a very project on robotic. So if you put about an idea, the person will not comment. They will only very simple commentaries. They will not very encouraging commentaries. Well, it's very difficult to say, no, this idea is very spectacular, and you have a library where there is a book that is regarding about this point. Go and get this book. And so that's in that way. Thank you. Now we are going to the miss on the same point. Well, I understand I will start with your second question. So you talked about, as a person that is involved in the education system. So my colleague have said very well. We have to change first ourselves, not to wait on to receive. If you are an entrepreneur, you have to go and get it. So the education, we cannot wait on the government to do or to create a syllabus on the education system. So I stopped to this as a mother. So us as a fathers, we have to support our children and we have to control them and pay attention to them. If our son or daughter has a passion or of certain topics, so we have to support him. Well, I study public relations, so you have to be a public relations student as well. You have to be a magnet. So the world has changed. We have to have the habit or to support the passion and dreams of our kids. So as long as the kid has passion, so you as a father, you cannot run away from it. So you will insist on that to create and water this idea. So talking about your second question, Huawei is trying to better the partnership with the Ministry of Education. So in this moment, we are trying to have a cooperation with the university so that they have our courses and as a part of their curriculum, so of their study. So this is still in coordination with the government. Is not only the idea of Huawei and to say that today we're going to study 5G, but now we're still dealing with the government, not only Angolan government, but to Mozambique as well, and everywhere where Huawei is operating. The intention is this, and for the middle level, we would like to reach them. Thank you for the answers. And to add on this, there's 3 or 4 Angolan universities that are working on the implementation, and each one of them, they will structure a curriculum and they will have the experience on their own university. So this program is being funded by the countries on the lower kingdom. So the success, if we have cases of success, the idea is that this program will be adaptable on the basic level. So there's one more question. Someone has a question? Yes, we do have a question.
Então, vamos primeiro ouvir essa questão, em seguida vamos ouvir da honorável comissária.
Okay, we're going to hear the question, then we're going to hear from good afternoon for everyone. I'm George Saranda. I'm University of SPTech and director of the, and I feel very congratulated
on so many of the research that our group has done. I want not to go back to the question that was already made. I want to bring another point, another perspective. We are talking about bringing technologies and projects on the secondary schools, universities. I actually see what is, if we present a panel like this one with technology and speak about robots, programmation. I believe that everyone will be there, will be in a blank because they don't know what's being talking about. I want to know what's the plan. What's the plan of AWARE and what is of the equilibrium on your strategies, on your program? How do you fight the technological illiteracy? Because that is a factor that actually will condition on the plans that the private sector is being developing as thank you. I believe that I already got your point, and our speakers already took note. We shall save the time. We are about to close. We shall hear. You have the floor. You can use the microphone. Thank you.
I'm Miriam Slimani from the African Telecommunication Union and in charge of the digital innovation ecosystem. I just to reflect what the honorable
E recapitular o que o orador já falou, nós temos uma
Telecommunication Union. We are building digital innovation platform dedicated to you, young people, startups, and also all the ICT stakeholders. This platform will put together funders, industry, young people, even talented people who don't have any university degree, but having a potential to get great ideas. So this, we started in 2020, what we call Digital Innovation Challenge. It's open for all, and it's every year we have a thematic. The first edition was about what new projects and new ideas to mitigate COVID. And it was open to all African young people, startups, and universities, hubs, to provide their ideas. And we received about 200 contestants, and we have 5 winners. These 5 winners, they get, of course, some prizes around $5,000 for projects from us and our partners. Our partners are Huawei, Intel, Africa Hub, and many others, GSMA, that they are interested to promote the ecosystem, digital ecosystem in Africa, and help us to address our own issues, our own solutions, and coming with brilliant ideas to solve our problems. So this is the objective, the main objectives, and to put together all these stakeholders to work together, to interwork, and use share the capacity. The other thing we are providing after that, capacity building for young innovators, how to do a business plan, how to create a business, and also we provide through our partners the capacity for them to process. There are some young people, they don't have these tools, these emerging technology tools, and we provide for them, because behind this, our union, we have a strong partners involved in the promotion and the build of the innovation ecosystem in Africa. And the other thing, and the most important, we have the mechanism to protect your intellectual property. So to help you how to get the ideas, to build a business, and to protect your ideas, and to address also the African market. Because as you may know, we have issues that are typical for Africans. Look, for example, the solution of M-Pesa that was addressing a banking population. They don't have a bank account. It's not, maybe in Europe, in America, it's not the same, but for us, it was a very brilliant idea. Today, according to this kind of solution for our context as African, we could make a lot of progress and have inclusion for our population and help doing business mainly. Thank you for this opportunity, and I invite all this audience to look at the African Telecommunication Union website. We will launch the next Challenge Innovation Edition in October, by the end of October. And of course, you are all invited if you have these ideas and you need really to change the ecosystem in Africa, because we not only have these stakeholders, we also have 51 members country, and they are decision makers. They are listening to you. And of course, it will come to have a new vision for Africa innovation. And thank you.
I believe that after this intervention, the panel will answer, and if you desire, you can also comment on the contribution that we've just received. You shall also give the answer to the last question. And in this contribution that we received, only that which was the center topic of a central subject of our conference. Angola is ready. Angola is ready. Is Angola ready? We know that the 21st century is the only opportunity that Africa is having to not be behind, because the access to technology is being a barrier, and we just have to.
Será que estamos em condições?
Are we in conditions because of this situation that was done and the contribution that we received? Because at the end, we just have to say farewell to each one, or to say bye to everyone. We just have more 5 minutes. In connection with the question that you've done, I consider this to be a very important question on what our MOSEC is done. 67% with people under 27 years. And a mother, a worry is to go and fetch water and to do a meal and all this. And when we talk about the technology, we talk technology as a factor, so that we can actually redeem those situations. We have to find ways of including them digitally. And I'll show an example of COVID. Angola was considered as one of the best of the world among the 20. There is something that I visited many centers, and one of the centers, it was in Citadel. That was the last center that was having pre-registers there. In that center, people, they were registering there, and they were printing the barcode there. And I've arrived there with a person of CDC that said that it would have not been working, because we were already having 1,700 posts of vaccination on the country being managed on the real time, starting from Cabinda to Ruvungu, and seeing that some they were offline and people they were synchronizing at the end of the day where they've got network. What happens with those international? Some of those international partners, they thought that Angola would have not been able, and people would have not been able because people were not used to work with smartphones, and how those are very long informations and so on. And what was done was a plan to include those people. But one of these days when I arrived at Citadel Post, and I saw one of those old ladies with those clothes, she came with that paper for vaccination, When I saw that, I saw that as something out of common. I say, but mommy, how have you done your pre-registration? Was it a parent? Was it the son? Was it? She looked to me with a certain face as if I was crazy. She said, I just went to the cyber cafe today. And here sometimes we have got limitation for the people. I'll just give you an example. On the health area, Angola is one of the countries on digital transition. On one of the worst country, but in using internet for the country, it's already in a certain level. It is on the last level of maturity. But on the using of an internet, it's already on the second level of maturity, which means that our citizenship sometimes they've got ideas. It is to say that for that mommy to go searching for water, I'll not go taking that to say that tomorrow you'll be start taking water with the solar panel and so on. On the app you're gonna have one of these happen. I will give you the water at home, but you've got ways to do it. You do it by approximation. And on what is to do on the balance, we don't have a program, we don't have the sufficient dimension, we don't have a program, a social program defined, but we've got a team which is Angola will change the world. Every time we leave home, it's not to work, but it is to change the world. That is our feedback that on what we're saying.
Agora vamos passar para
Thank you. Now we're going to Miss. Just to finish, our way is not. Well, you have made asking because we have talked about the university, and we have forgotten about the other. Well, we have not forgotten the others. Huawei has the initiative to for the entrepreneurs and for small companies, and those companies that have partnership with Huawei, they have opportunity to receive mentorship with our specialists, and we have a lot of courses where they can learn to train and to receive this mentorship for a time that we can coordinate. And if there is no, it's not a small company, it can be an association. So we cannot only train students or only partners, but also the government people. So we can train a group of people, and they can come to us and present what is their need and what they need to learn, and we're going to analyze and also give feedback if it is possible, and how and when and how can we do that. So, and we also understand that the world is opening to and is bringing one more person to earn more knowledge, and we cannot leave anyone at the back. So it's not only for public workers, but for and for also for the people for the ghetto. So our doors are open for everyone. So if you come closer, so don't be fearful to come to us. So thank you for your answers. Before we end, we have startups here, we have funders or entrepreneurs. You have heard what the representative or African Union have said. We have a report for some of the startup in Angola in this phase of activity. What we have not only aspects of capital, but is the case of the language. Why is that the Angolan startup don't have a lot of these courses? Why? I remember that I have worked with the World Bank, there was only one Angolan candidate. So it was already identified because the International Monetary Bank. So he was studying about the Angolan ecosystem, and it was identified that we are in the stage of activation, and one of the lack in this phase that we need to grow and we have to impose ourselves on the global world. The language is one of the facts that for us to get access to the capital. So we are here some recipes, and once again I've learned that after people is grown, they only talking about people. So everything just go around us. If there is no goodwill within us, we cannot get solution to create solution for all of us. We have to change the world, and that's was said here. When we are growing, we have to change the world. So we have to have a view and diagnostic of what is our startup in Angola. So before you end, you have said something very interesting, and I would like to comment on that. So you said there was a so my friend said about focus, and I was talking about the education. So we always have talked about ready for the opportunities. You cannot wait for the opportunity and prepare yourself. You have to walk, you have to study, you have to prepare yourself, you have to be ready, and you don't know how and when the opportunity will come. You don't know when is your time. It's very important for you to prepare yourself. The opportunity cannot come, will not may come twice, but we need to be ready. As an investor, you need to be ready. If it is to study English, let us study. And we say that in October we have to submit our application, so study English. And there is a lot of resources. There is a Google translation. There is a lot of information. That's what we're talking about. There's a focus and will. And I will give you the last advice. You need to start you need to know how to earn money with the ideas that you created of changing the world. So if you start creating, finding the problem, then you will have the solution. So I was in a room and I was asking a question. How many people know what is uh, uh, we have we have gone through the process of mentorship, so this is very critical. You are in a very advanced stage, so you have to do with your, as my colleague has said, you have to go to mentorship. So I would like to thank all that heard us, and we ask to stay because we're going to continue. Just stay with us, and we are going to give another topic. Thank you. Everyone. Good afternoon to everyone. I am Roberta Vittoria. I'm representative of CETIC FT, and which is the sector of public finances. And I will thank in my name and in the name of CETIC FP to be part of Angotic 2023. Well, in this moment, I bring a very interesting topic that we're talking about finance and technology on the feminine contest. Well, during this topic, we're going to talk about literacy on the financial sector and on the digital world and fintechs and not more important and the program for the future for this same paradigm. On this sense, I present the host or the speakers. On my left, Dr. Maria Winnie Batista, a founder of platform with more than 20 years of experience and also 2 years on the financial sector and with the objective of changing and upgrowing the business were funded by women. He was on the was the chief of the members of the administrators of the FT Africa and professor on the banking management on the University Technical University of Angola and all the abilities. And there is also Dr. Maria, this the executive administrator, and is a lot of knowledge on the financial sector, and with a 30 years of experience as a Benia, and we also
Diretora do Departamento de Dívida Externa, subdiretora
and sub-director of the management and deputy director and the technical of contracts and agreements on the oil sector and mines. Okay, what a great potential. I really feel honored to be part of this panel with these figures, those big figures of great importance of our country. And without Dr. Winnie and Dr. Juliana, good afternoon once again. Good afternoon for you that you follow us. We are talking about this panel that talks about the finances and the technologies on the female contest, where the problem is going to touch on the literacy, on the financial literacy, and the digital as well. And in Angola, having in consideration that most of the part of the population is made up of women, what is the vision on this topic when it comes to the female? What does it present? We'll start with you, Dr. Winnie. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm not Dr. Ray Winnie. You can just call me Winnie. Thank you once again for this opportunity to talk about a very pertinent, a very crucial, a very important subject. When it talks about technology, it also makes it more pertinent. It's not only, the problem is not only for women in general, but when we talk on the female side, we should not forget on the on literacy. when we start from the scratch when it comes to literacy, which we still have in the country, and the women they are trying to come out of this and through the years with the many technologies, this gap of being illiterate, and is going to become more wide. And it's not only about learning to write and to read, it is on learning the basic of finance so that you may take intelligent decisions that will not interfere with in the future of a family, because we know that teaching a woman, we are orientating in general. For me, this is a problem that does not only have one side, it has got different sizes and it's very wide. Thank you, Dr. Winnie. Thank you for this contribute. Dr. Juliana, what contribute do you have for the future with a safe inclusion of the woman on the finance sector? Thank you. I'll start by thanking, first of all, the invitation, and second of all, women as women, we are the heart of our families. It is the women that are that they promote the big business, especially when it comes to the informal business and the inclusion of women on the digitalization, finance. This digitalization, it's very important. This gives advantages and also bigger finance inclusion, and we should also have the increase of the finance literacy. This make us to have less money outside of the bank control, and improves our trade, and it decreases the informal trade, and it also helps that our the bank BNA, it is something of the great importance, so that will allow the execution of what is our country to guarantee the stability of the market, because less the money outside of the circuit, more efficient is having our monetary policy. So women here, they've got a very important role to play. Dr. Winnie, or Winnie, I'm sorry. Winnie, what is your perspective on what Dr. Juliana said about this, about Robert, about this subject? Yes, I want to take so that we take an imagination. Imagine that we've got a body, and this is the body, and the heart is the money, and the physical money that's circulating on the market in the hands of the people, and the heart start pumping, and will be distributing the bloods from the vases, and the blood is doing its work. But we have to understand that besides the heart, we've got other like the kidneys, and it is understand that it is to bring on the narrative of literacy, on the transformation of finance, that we cannot only remain on the heart beating, we should be feeding other organs. When we talk about the ways of digital payments, transformation of the informal market to a more formal, because unfortunately I think that I don't like to use culture, but I think that we are too much used to have things or to get things, and because of this we feel if we are using a service or a bank service or a certain app, it is as if we are not having money with us. It comes from there, and it is actually contaminates the old cycle of goods and service. If I don't have in my hands psychology, I cannot just place and I start freezing. I say this because I'm a woman. This is our narrative. That's why the ATM have got an informal way, because people, they feel that they've got the card at hand, but now it is important for us to look well, may it be on finance sector or on the sector of goods and services, and to understand what is possible to change this, not only to focus on the heart, but to other organs, the blood that is circulating, digital payment, digital wallets, robust advisors, and try to adapt to this narrative that is already existent about money. This is my point of view. Thank you very much, Doctor. What can we do to help the heart? That is where it comes the paper of finance education, that is to intensify the, and also so that it will be used with the card and not with the money at hand, the electronic payments, looking to what is to do with the finance massification being institutionalized, Department of Education, Finance Education, and we have to be worried with the inclusion of the population and the process of finance education. What's the paper? What is the program that will help in this process of inclusion of the population on the finance sector and digital? To have an idea of the importance that BNA gives to this subject, we have got a department that is called the Department of Finance Education, and the role of this department, it is to teach the people. We've got on level of our regional delegations, we've got micro representation for this department that's going to go to the field, that goes to school, goes to the market, that they'll go and talk to the people to teach them so that they can have an account and open an account, use the card. And we've got in our department several initiatives, work with the commercial banks and other partners of the market, especially the Ministry of Education, and these also that we can have joint policies on the internal level. We also have coin. One of the ways it is finance education. If you go through the marginal, there is a space that's always full of kids. We've got hundreds and hundreds of schools, and then we try to teach the kids how to save, how to have an account, so that they can influence the parents, because they know that children are a good vehicle for this. We have got an annual program that we call that is actually, we've got games, we've got different representative of the finance, and also to teach the kids how it works, what is the role of a commercial bank, why a bank account, where does HT comes, to teach them how to go and buy with and do a change. And there is also is saving box, and we do this with the purpose of bringing the population to the system, with the purpose to fulfill our role on instability and maintenance of the coin. I just want to contribute on what you said. On my point of view, it is important on the same way that we've got the basic math at the primary level. It is already included. I think it should be already included in our school program, this subject that will allow so that the kids from early tender age can already start knowing what is the finance. So on what has to do finance education, I want to understand what are the challenges after that you saw during this process, and what are the gains that you have as a motivation to create this department. The objectives are these. We should be able to bring actions that allow us to execute a monetary policy of excellence. This was the great objective. We had constraints, and the great constraint in this process of inclusion and education, it is to join various intervenient of the system. This is the great challenge because this is to include the system, and it's all starting with the trader, bank, and on informal market, the exchange, and this one that sells on the dark shop. That is the challenge that we have been experiencing, and we, if constraints, because I have been also on this side, challenge also, challenge also, but we can start by the constraints because it's not going to be possible to do what we want to do without a scale. And to reach a greater number, how do you reach a great number? By technology. How will you be able to have technology with an internet so expensive? When will you have technology? When the great they sell those analogic TV, analogic, I mean mobile, because it's still 9.5 millions that they use the internet, according to report of Inacon, and half are women, which brings us here. What do these women do with cell phone? Internet zero, which this operator gives to consult Facebook and WhatsApp. Not in any other case, you, for example, take a book or have more information that will allow them to have more capacity to know more about BNA. They are not able with those types of constraints. So more than this effort of education needs another effort from the mobile operators, a policy so that will hinder those proliferation of these phones. Those phones, they end up making people more digitally illiterate. So today we talk about internet and things. We talk about crypto coins. When are we talk about the subject? If it's not possible, the minimum feedback to a question that has to do what is the best investment for him that's got 20,000 with those constraints. Yeah, on the world of technology should be looked so that the junction between the finance and technology can be a wedding that pays off and we can reach more people. Okay. One of the things that we want to talk about on practical life that give us strength, we have been massified and have been fighting for the opening of the bank this opening does, and this is a vehicle of finance inclusion. And when we go, for example, the lady that's selling, for example, peanuts, there are ladies that they've got already, they've the machine, I mean the machine for the ATM, the woman that is already there is using. That's what it take us, so that in spite of the difficulties of constraints that Maria already referred, we are there, we are getting there. Very well. The subject is very important. We shall continue discussing about these things because they say that women are the majority and the women they are the one that they feed the family, and I think that I'm of those ones that believe that technology will shorten this way, but for this access to the technology should be democratized, and there should be some efforts so that those things can happen. The entrepreneur that I deal with, they complains that internet of 2000 they do almost nothing. Is Unitel? Do we have got someone here from Unitel? Unitel is represented here. Continuing to this panel, we have been passing to this point on participation of women on what is to do with technology in Africa, and on average or more than on average, according to data that were compiled by the Union in 2020, women's. As I was mentioned, according to the data that were compiled by the International Union of Telecommunication 2020, women represent only 30% of the students enrolled on courses of science, technology, engineering, maths, and in all African countries. So the rate of participation they vary from country to country. In some African countries, the women percentage that are in STN it's very low. In others, the female participation is very high. And the example in Algeria, 41% of the students of science and engineering are women. And comparing to Senegal, that only 7% are women. It is necessary a lot of efforts to increase the number of women on resources of technology and also the number of the women's trained in technology in Africa. It is important also to give more educational opportunity for women, to encourage them to develop abilities on STM, and if it's also necessary, the efforts to eliminate cultural barriers and economic barriers that hinders the women to have to resources on technology and a career. And Lynn, will you be? Do you have a visibility of women or Angolians that never use the internet? I believe that I already spoke, which are the dates of Inacom. 9.5 million of Angolans they use internet. So I'll just speak. It doesn't make any sense. So I half of this number, 4 millions, are women, girls that have got access. As I already said, it is a study that's supposed to be done, which is besides the use. What does it use? What do we use for? Then we shall be talking about those package of Net Zero and WhatsApp and Facebook. And I think that we should look to to intensify more on the internet in a certain way that there is Net Zero for WhatsApp, Facebook. There should also come some initiatives, sites of finance education are the correct that will be that will be giving or mobilize or giving encouragement, and they don't present platforms with the zero. Why there's no this signage?
Entretenimento.
Facebook is entertainment. WhatsApp more business entertainment, and having in consideration those statistics, if they feel I think if it will also be on cost zero for the education program, I believe that's going to be a nice thing, because they insist saying that those ones are more cheap. Laranjinha, they are more cheaper because they are it's very short span. So, and being here at the logical point, other countries, they may not only sell the product, but we try to sell the service. We try to do a work here to reduce the amount. I've got a phone, I start continuing charging my phone in the countries that have done this. This is unnecessary. And that phone is for that person. And him that's going to steal will not see where it's going to take her. There are some digital phones that are not that much expensive, the smart, the minimal, as long as there is a screen and it is possible to write and to read a book. I believe that that would have helped in one way to go forward. And as women, we need to have this understanding so that in one way we can pass this to our kids. Juliana, do you want to compliment? I believe that Winnie has said he said it all. As I said, that there is also a certain paper from the entities, the states, and to make it more cheaper, the communication, to make it smart, because it doesn't pay off to have a digital phone if a call sometimes it's more expensive than the neighbor country. From this side, we should also have state policies in order not only this question of the communication cost, but also the literacy, especially on the women, the literacy. And also just to reinforce that it is important to educate, train, qualify all the education without leaving the less favorable one. Which way this can actually support the working group. The idea here is to know how the ladies can take advantage of technological advances on daily activities and projects. This is a very good question, and as we move some of the models that are using, they don't make any sense. For example, we are in a age in age that the one that works more physically is less remunerated. Many times we are paid per hours. When we introduce technology, we think that we shall be paid by knowledge. I'll just give a simple example. From the moment that she's got access to technology, uses technology for her business, she starts going up by level. She starts going up by level of understanding and level also of the product that she sells. And we call bread with tea. That is the product, the initial one. If I am an informal seller, I sell fruits, I go to street, that's bread with tea, and it's quick, and there'll be more. And she starts thinking another level, which is not just bread with tea. And if I've got a phone and I'm able to target all my customs, and I create a group and I put it on the platform, I put the data, email, cell phone number, name, address, and I go beyond the needs of these people, and I say I'll be having fruits next week, and I'll be having banana, I'll be having this and that. When do you want? She can already program those deliveries, and there she's made a step, and she can go to another step, another stage. We're talking to Emilia and transform fruits.
Vou fazer, eu agora já não vendo só fruta.
And she says now, I'm not selling only fruits. Now I also sell, for example, pulpa. And she sends a message on WhatsApp, I've got a pulpa. And she can do more. And if she use this tea, which is being spread, and that allows to think more, help us to think a little bit more and more quick. She can go and ask for the tea of Shetete. How do I do so that I can have more clients from the purple fruit on my area? Is going to have a lot of solutions, and there she can already start to getting another people going and tell other people come and work with me because I need workers. I've already went up. So technology helps in this part of the finance to increase. And for example, when it comes to financial control and the money is finishing. And there are also many other platforms that allow to have those date of sale, control the costs, the product. If I'm going to buy the mango and go to Funda and get a taxi, how do I do if I bring base and for example with this, what's the cost if I go and sell? I've spent more 3,000 kwanzas on cab. There's a need of using technology so that we can manage not only cost, but we can manage the expenses that are done during the sales and production, but also to think on increasing the income, not only on squeezing, but also to expand, to being able to do more. I like the way you bring your your topics. Besides what she already spoke, only economy of time, time management, and the facility of that technology brings to us. It makes to bring to grow every business. If we are at home and do, for example, orders and attend clients and do payments and receive payments and all this, we call that time is money. For me, it is time and expansion that this allow us. Thank you, Juliana. Winnie, looking to the future vision, if women on our sisters and our saleswomen, they use this digital payment, what's going to be the impact on our country, the socioeconomic impact of our country? If they lead the use of the digital payment, what will be the social economic impact of the country?
Well, it's a dream because in the first place, they will be very certain to take their decisions and to manage their kids and their families regarding the finances and their business. Well, we also think that they would have more time and they will have more life quality. And we are talking about finances and technology, as we forgot about that the women need to take care of the house and take care of the kids. And although they have their social roles, but she needs to lead, she needs to manage and the process. So, and she also can inspire other leaders or create other leaders, and then create other platforms, and they need to have ways to create, ways to facilitate the work, and to have also time for themselves. So we still have a lot of questions to make, and so that don't say that I'm selfish, I will give those minutes to the people to make the equations to the. We have to prioritize the ladies. Okay, we're going to give space for the women that they want to ask their question. You have a microphone. There is a microphone uh, behind the camera.
Bem, as senhoras, pelos vistos, não têm questões.
The ladies, we think that they don't have questions to ask, so I'll give the floor to Paulo de Carvalho to make the question. So he has to stand up and go to the microphone behind the camera, and you have to say your name, the institutions that you're representing, and your questions.
Obrigado.
Thank you. Paulo Carvalho. I would like to say first, I am thankful to be part of this panel and of this session, to have as a moderator and to be watching the moderation or engineer, and I feel tempted as part of the fourth place for, and was very interested to hear Dr. Winnie, and I'm very clarified with the role of the girls and ladies on the world of finance and technology, and it also enriches my knowledge. So I also, to not to take a lot of time, I want to say that to leave a note in the emerging economies is a point that Winnie is talking about the digital phones, and we have to look more to the digital phones and analogic. Well, the emerging economy, they are using more the analogic cell phones, and this is something that we have to accommodate. That's why there's a mobile payment, and it will allow so that the more of the economic agent that don't have those digital phones, they can be integrated. And as we say that the women are the majority of the population, we have Zungeira, and if we allow telling the Zungueiras to buy the smartphones, it will go far away from our reality. Well, and all those things. So we cannot leave the strategy of the use of those analogic cell phones. So, so we want until when? So until when? I will ask a question. Will you use a disco? Di well, there's no need. There's no need to go into the debate. We are talking about the cars and, well, the future and the present is not need to go. Well, we have to study a certain part. We are dealing with the Zungueiras, and they have WhatsApp. They are using smartphone, and they're using Facebook. So it's not about being common. It's common, but it's not normal. What is not normal and need to have a period. We're not saying that we're going to take tomorrow, but I have, well, I've studied. Well, you can. There are countries that have not allowed those cell phones, so we need to start to reflect about. So it's like a computer that need to insert drives. So that's a XP system. So we have to put a operating system of 2008. So it will not work for our days. So we are. It's a process. So thank you. So anyone more question? Man in blue you said you had a question. Good afternoon. My name is Ferraj, and I'm a lover of technology and talking about and I know a lot of people that are doing engineering and they don't know about ChatGPT, and I would like to know they are connected to, they will be allowed, they will have to access to ChatGPT. Well, as I said, it's a good. There are different levels, so we're going to go the level by level. Well, I have a set. We're going a time from now. We are going difficult. Go into technology without having artificial intelligence. Well, in few years, in a few moments of time, we're going to have artificial intelligence in all the platforms. So a lot of people are already connected to this one, and sooner or later they're going to deal with the AI. So for their knowledge, that's what we have talked. It's about literacy, digital literacy. So and we also talked about the financial literacy. So if this technology is being presented to them and they can be feeling or have interest, if we think that Zungaira they are very closed, and so today we have kids that are dealing with technology, although they so but it goes to digital literacy in a very short future. In it to be integrated, and it will not be how we cannot have. We're going to talk about with the cartoons. We're going to have a software, a cartoon that will respond all the deposit, so it will give answers to 500,000 people and everything. So we want to resist it, but we cannot wait. I've seen a robot after has worked 70 hours has passed away. Well, here on the topic of Zungeiras have shared, they contributed for the Angolan community, but they are forgotten winning which program or role that above 360 they have for this class for creation of sustainability. Well, we are talking about Zungeira woman. Well, we're talking about an entrepreneur, about the sustainability for women. We want not only to fight, but to reduce this type of business of for food. They are doing the business for food, or if they want they want to create a type of business that they can grow. So as long as those type of business, as long as they passed away, the business also finished. So we want to give an education, not as a formal education. It's not about this, but education where they can understand in the practice, where they can understand that doing business they go to a higher level. So how can I go to the higher level? So I have to go understand about my business, if I am selling about 5,000, so I have to keep a portion to grow my capital, and also a contact with with other people. So what we call about networking. So networking is about is resources. So even capital resources. So we have like that we need to share with people in order to come together for a cooperation and a partnership. So to negotiate with all the information that you guys have. So we have that perspective for education. So for create a synergy and a contact with the people that are in the next level. So that's we're talking about shining and experience, and to hear people that have gone through. Well, there are women that used to be Zungaira and they have gone to a higher level. She needs to hear a story of a woman that went to a higher level. So in contact with others, they can dream higher. So then we going to have we want to teach finances and communication, and we within the above we have this line and opportunity that was given to a woman and the voice they need to have, and we want to have experience, and she needs to experience other environment and other opportunities that we are trying to do.
Permite sim.
Concerning the contribute of the saleswoman, the women that sell on the street, Zungera, we've got an informal economy. Our economy is very informal. We cannot just say Zungera like with basin on the head. Most of them they've got markets that they contribute, they pay, so they contribute for the finances, for the public finance. They contribute because they consume also, they go and buy, and they also feed on the market. So they've got a very important paper on the economy. Those are partners. Those are true partners for the economy. Thank you very much, Juliana. Thank you for this contribution on the platform of I would like to know how above is able to make profit with this initiative. How can you gain some finances to charge taxes? There's no any staff of AGT. Okay, this is not also as both we are moving to a digital platform. I believe that in 2 months we shall have the final product, because we've seen that on board, which is the entry of the people, is difficult. That's why I'm here fighting, and I'm already here pushing, pulling to my side. We've got a community. Besides the entry, besides the jewelry to be on a community, there's always opportunities in a community. You win, also win. There are rights, and there are also youths who controls the community and presents the possibility of resources that can be explored. But the idea is to gain with the cross-selling. Those are and to contact someone that has got what I need, and we want also to go to the crowdfunding, but it is also important for them to see also it. So that's good, because sometimes it is important for us to start working, and the regulations will follow. When I left CMC, we were already having all the diploma prepared, and I only need to go to the National Assembly. I only need to go to the National Assembly for the approval, but it helps. It helps for the development. That's a jump of a level. The women's business for them to dream big, and for them to understand where do they walk and where does she want to reach. And also we've got many professionals that we can also provide some finance consultancy, and we have got again, and we also have those judicial consultants. And for now, and because we are in a moment that we need to contribute for a sustainable development, number 5 of the United Nations, our purpose is to keep the people in community in which they feel that they've got the duties to pay, but they feel that they've got the right, and they are taking advantage of their right. What's the value of this payment? It is something small. What is minimum? 40,000 per year. That's okay. Acceptable. Acceptable. That's less than 100, less than 100 US dollar. Especially the main focus is women, but we don't exclude we don't exclude men, because their partners, they always end up investing on women. Is a husband of someone, I used to say. And coming out of the subject, we should have to be careful with this objective number 5. Number 5, to advance needs men. Men open the door and gives opportunities, so they have always to be on our projects. That's the problem, for them to give the opportunities. For them to give, they have to be present. We have to call them on those forums where we express. There should be, because there's always one or another that takes the message and changes the mindset. Those are our partners. Those are our partners. They misbehave sometimes, but well, I've got questions here, but we are already at the limit. I don't know if we shall continue. If there is someone here from the protocol that allows, so that we can give sequence. I also want to have the feedback of the plenary here. If can we keep on? Can we continue? This is a very extensive subject, and Winnie has spoken very well about this subject, which I'm going to place here. Juliana, what is the vision for the future? One has to do with those fin test on the market. Does it work? On my point of view, the world today is a digital world, and this is the type of business that came to stay, that has to work, especially on what are the young initiative, or the initiative for the youth. If someone that was here on the panel that was before us was talking about the need of the young people to focus and to have their purpose, to that what are their purpose. They work when they are able to attend to the need of the client, when they are able to present services that the market is looking, that they are able to be innovators. But I see we don't have another way. The world is a digital world. The way is forward. It has to work, not on a desirable level, but we got good references. Thank you very much, Juliana. When you would like to contribute, we already spoke about the subject. I don't know if you would like to add a point. I think that this is the same subject. We go back to the same point, which is number of users. I don't know if you've got present here people that they make or are provider of technology. We have, yes, we have here on the plenary. I can even mention some people, and they can also say that the subject is the number of the users, and we go back to the same people in the same subject, but the number of active users, those ones with access to the internet, and this hands up to delay the development, not that do not exist, becoming many initiative of mobile payment, of digital payment, and there are others which we call those peer-to-peer, depends from a national bank, which that is actually the loans from persons to persons, so without and those they come more quicker, but they should come other digital platforms that they go through laboratory of national bank, that they follow the rules, they present themselves as a solution, and on the subject there is a lot of solutions. Even the lawmakers, they've got also those digital businesses going so fast. Who will control? How will it work in terms of regulation? What will happen with digital identity? We have to talk. We have to. There should be a system here that talks on this finance system, but we have to extend the base data, the base data. So with the time for the technologies that they improve not only the WhatsApp and Facebook, but we have a very good way, and I see that the National Bank is doing a good work with the different of initiative, but we need also that Unitel does its part. When we talk about digitalization, especially on finance system, we should also have in consideration that which we say of security. All these systems, they require a rigid system of security, because those are things that do not come from day to night and overnight. So it requires a lot of studies. That's why we're having the startups. And in this year 2023, 44% of the startups are women. We are moving forward.
Bem, já não temos mesmo tempo.
We don't have a lot of time. We already passed for 10 minutes.
Eu dou por concluídas as minhas questões.
I'm going to conclude my question, but I would like to leave the opportunity for the people here, the panelists, so that if there's something that has not been questioned, this is the moment. I'll just give 2 minutes for each one of them.
Quem começa? Juliana?
Pronto, eu penso que aqui a minha palavra iria.
My word will go to the youth to actually invest on their learning, knowledge, so that they can always be capacitated, so that as women, so that we can also follow all this problem of the ecosystem of digitalization worldwide. And the world today, technologies have come to change the way of do business, of do politics, and all which is decision comes from passing through technology. My appeal is for those that are in front of schools, fathers, as educators, to start also having this mindset on their kids as well. That is my contribution. From my side, I want to leave a challenge here, a task for every one of us, so that you live here and you help someone on what has to do with technology and finance. That what you have on your phone is what they use. You know that it's valuable. Teach someone else. Sometimes don't go far. Probably our the lady that works at home, a friend, and you insist. And also, don't just stop doing this until the weekend to teach someone a secret, a technology, a teaching about finance that you've got to other person. Thank you, Winnie. Thank you very much for those contributes, Juliana, Winnie, and I would like to thank you for the plenary. Thank you very much for this, for being with us, even passing time. We just have to wish you a good afternoon. Thank you. Tudo hoje passa pela digitalização. Vê. Aquela moça de preto. Tanto azul, essa de branco, mesmo tipo. Essa de vermelho, mesmo tipo. Aquela de casaco azul, o mesmo tipo ali. Óculos. Like, everyone is using. It is like it's something that's on fashion. The one in front as well. Terminamos, né? Para ver se está lá.